So they may have run 5 down.
Instead of the game being over, it appears that the Redskins get the 5th down.
And the cat is elusive. He's walking. He's walking to the 3. He's at the 2. Field, and the cat runs into the end zone. That is a touchdown.
Snap, placement, kick by Hartley, and it is good! It's good! It's good! Pigs have flown. Hell is frozen over. The Saints are on their way to the Super Bowl.
It feels like forever before that's going to happen again. Oh, yeah. My right, Jesus. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back to the 5th down, everyone. I'm the captain.
Tootsie.
All right. Week 2 in the books. And what a week 2 it was.
yeah, and it was a long one. A lot of games, a lot of good games, a lot of crazy. I mean, honestly, the fourth quarter was the story of this week.
Okay? For everyone, right?
Like everyone, okay? Let me see. Where is that story about the comeback wins? I'll find it. Anyway.
I'm sorry. There we go.
There we go.
Let's bring those up so we can just run that down real fast, huh? Get this over with.
Yes. Give me 1 second. Let me go. Well, we'll start with the scores from the week. All right. Yeah. So, starting on Thursday night foosball, we had the Chiefs over the Chargers, 27-24. Chiefs actually came back in the fourth quarter to win that game. Jets 31 over the Browns 30.
Last minute win.
Last minute win. Lions 36 over the Commanders 27. That was a blowout, despite what the score says. Giants 19 over the Panthers 16. Patriots 17 over the Steelers 14. Jaguars goose-egging the Colts 24-0. Dolphins 42 over the Ravens 38. That's number 2 comeback. The Rams over the Falcons. That was almost number 4 comeback, 31-27. 49ers just shutting down the Seahawks, 27-7. And Cowboys shutting down the Bengals for the most part, 20-17. Broncos over the Texans, 16-9. Cardinals in the third comeback win of the week, 29-23, overtime thriller against the Raiders. Green Bay just dominated Chicago on Sunday night. Yeah, and then on Monday night we had a doubleheader for why, I don't understand. But honestly, neither one of those games was very exciting. The Bills showed that they're the number 1 team in football. Changed my mind. 41-7 over a Titans team that is struggling mightily.
The AFC South is probably looking like the weakest division in football right now.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot. Eagles put a whipping on the Vikings, 24-7. Just some really good defensive play this week in all the games that weren't blowout wins. So, I mean, you're talking – and then, of course, the game of the most disappointing game of the week. The Saints facing 5 turnovers, lost to the Bucs.
Was it 5? I thought no, yeah, that's true. I forgot about Olave's fumble. Ugh.
Yeah, and I mean, that was just – if somebody would have touched him, he'd have been down. The ground can only call. This is everyone's. So we're going to get to this in the game.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
I don't want to bring that up right now.
This is the weird week of rules. So I mean, Captain, he was at the game this week, so I didn't watch as much football as he usually does.
No, it was kind of rough.
Let's start with the Thursday night game, okay? Kansas City and San Diego. You're going into the fourth quarter. It is 17-14. You have just a really back and forth, in the fourth quarter. I mean, this is these are two of the teams that we knew going into the year were going to be just some explosive teams.
Yeah.
And, Kansas City just has that one extra gear right now that they can still turn on. No Tyreek Hill, no problem.
Yeah, I take back what I said about the Kansas City Chiefs at the beginning of the season. I felt like they were going to be missing something without Tyreek, and that's just not the case.
I mean, he's spreading that ball around so much right now, right?
Say hi,
You're
Zoe.
talking, hey Zoe, and all these receivers for Kansas City. You've got Kelsey, Watson, Hardman, Edwards-Helaire, all at 40 to 51 yards. Really, the rushing is kind of where they may get done. Edwards-Helaire, 8 carries for 74. Mahomes was good, not week one good, but good. 24 for 35 for 235, 2 touchdowns. Herbert, on the other hand, was 33 for 48, 344, 3-1 touchdowns to interceptions. I think what hurt the Chargers was they couldn't really get the running game going in this one.
Yeah.
It was just the Chiefs were really good up front, and they just could not get any steam in the run game, despite Eckler and Kelly only combined for 18 carries. Sonny Michel had 4, and Justin Herbert scrambled a couple of times, but that doesn't really count. So, I mean, you're not even approaching 30 carries in the whole game. I feel that's a good number.
It's not a good number at all. I mean,
it's 22 carries.
To be truly successful, you have to have a running game going, right? And they tried. I mean, when everything's said and done, they finished up with, 40, 60, 75, about 76, 77 yards with everyone combined. That's just not going to cut it.
But
right?
when you're running 400 yards when you have 400 yards of offense and only 75 of that is rushing. Yeah. If you can't get 100 yards on the ground in a game, you're going to most likely lose that game.
You're going to struggle. I mean, you're not necessarily going to lose. You're going to struggle. And they did. They struggled. But, I mean, it was a close game. A lot of back and forth. Score. Punt. We saw it. I mean, it wasn't one-sided at all. I mean, this game was probably the best game out of the week for me. I did get to watch this one, but after everything's said and done, this was probably the best game of the week. The most competitive anyway. It wasn't one-sided at any point in time in the game. It stayed back and forth, and the score shows you that. You win by 3, 27, 27-24. The Chiefs hit the final blow in the last quarter. I mean, that's all it is. That's how they were able to pull it off and win. So, good game all around for this one. I didn't get to watch Patriots Steelers, so I can't comment on that. Score wise, very close. Looks like
it was kind of boring.
It was either a good game or it was a lot of really bad play from both teams.
Yes.
So from what I'm reading, from what I heard, it was just bad play from both teams.
It was messy. I mean, neither one of they were both 1-1 touchdown to INT. You're talking about defenses who, when you're talking about turnovers, it just wasn't.
You had better defenses playing mediocre offenses.
Yes.
Off of both sides. So,
yes.
All right.
And yeah.
So
honestly, the defense wasn't that good.
I don't want to talk about it. It's depressing. It's boring. But let's go Jets Browns, right? I mean, I think the Jets might have played the best 2 minutes of football ever recorded at this point. They were losing by 14 going into the last 2 minutes, and came back and won. Touchdown, onside kick recovery, and another touchdown. Apparently in that last 2 minutes of the game, the Browns decided, we don't need to play defense. Let's just go ahead and call this game a wrap. We got it under control, and we're going to win. And
look, to come back, Cleveland's driving, right? They go 2 plays, and then, boom, interception by the Jets, right? So the Jets come in, they kneel it down, and it's over. I mean, this was a like I said, one of 3 games this week where the team came back in the 4th down double digits. So
I wish the Saints could have done it. All right, so we had this one with the comeback in the last 4th quarter. In the 4th quarter, we had the Dolphins and the Ravens and in the last in the 4th quarter, in the last few minutes of the game.
That was crazy. My God.
They got something going on there with Tua. I want to talk bad about him, but I can't say anything negative about him this week. I mean, I guess we could say 2 interceptions, but the dude threw for 6 touchdowns. So, I mean, if you had
I believe that ties Dan Marino for most.
If you had Tua, Tyreek, or Jalen Waddle on your fantasy team, and if you stacked like a lot of people do, you ended up with Tua and Tyreek or Tua and Jalen, you probably won your game.
You won. I was playing Hill in one league, and I was playing in that league. I had Hill, and I was playing against Waddle. So they basically just canceled each other out.
Yeah, they washed each other pretty much. But
I mean, look, the Ravens weren't bad in this game either, right? Lamar Jackson looked fantastic. I mean, this is what you want to see from him. Yes, he got you 120 on the ground, but he got you 300 through the air and 3 touchdowns.
But I was going to say, it's the 318 in the air and the 3 touchdowns that surprises me with him. I mean, that's not something you normally see from him, right? You normally see him breaking out the pocket and making the runs, which he did. Mm-hmm. He only did it 9 times, though. He only broke out because he got 9 rushes for 119 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, if you're going to have a running quarterback, you want to limit those touches, and they did, with only 9 of them compared to his 21 to 29 passing, which is amazing. 318, 3 touchdowns. I mean, you can't look at this week and say, Lamar, you did your team wrong, because he did not.
He did everything right.
This is a complete defensive meltdown in the last few minutes.
Yep. And look, so let's talk about these 2 teams, right? You've got a very skinny receiving tree on each of these. Rashad Bateman was just big plays, 4 receptions, 108 yards. I want to say he had 7 targets. Mark Andrews, just the vacuum, 11 targets, 9 receptions for 104, touchdown. Isaiah Likely had 5 targets in this one with 4 receptions for 43. So he's like that. Devin Duvernay got in a little bit, but it's really going to be Bateman and Andrews. Same thing with Miami. I mean, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle both had 11 targets. On 36 pass attempts, that's 2/3-ish of the passes going to those.
Yeah, but I mean, why do you need to go to someone else? If you have those 2 guys getting open, they did it. I mean, Tyreek did it in Kansas City. Jalen Waddle did it last year, and they're both doing it together this year. And I mean, this is going to be the strength of this team. You have Tua, who I will still say, even after this week of football, is still a middle of the road quarterback. But you have those 2 guys giving him the chance to elevate his game.
Exactly. He's got the pieces now to where when you have these pieces, this is what determines how you are as a quarterback, right?
Yeah,
it's how good you can do with what you have, but when what you have is really good, this is what you should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, normally when you look at something like this, you see a quarterback elevating the receivers, and in this case, you have the receivers elevating the quarterback. So, I mean,
and look, Tua is in his third year.
Yeah, I think he was hurt most of his first year. That was with
this is year 3. What am I tripping? So I mean, he's got a lot to prove. He's got a lot of growing still to do. This is technically his sophomore season. So I like what I saw. I think against a Baltimore defense that until the fourth quarter held them to 14 points, and then just kind of everything fell apart for them,
Yeah,
And
I mean,
they've got a lot of injuries in the secondary again already, so it's going to be a rough year for the Ravens, folks. I'm sorry, but considering how the rest of the AFC North is playing, you still got a shot.
yeah, I mean, look, that division's wide open because everybody's playing like crap. We can discuss that. I mean, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. We'll jump into this. Bengals Cowboys, right? This should have been a bounce back game for Joe Burrow and the Bengals, but for whatever reason, any money they spent on that offensive line, they wasted because it's still piss poor. Joe Burrow's still running for his life back there, and I mean, right now that's just too much, right? Cowboys win that game 20-17, like we said earlier. Honestly, they got it done in the first quarter, and then they just allowed the Bengals to come back and play and bring it close to where, game-winning field goal by Brett Maher in the last seconds of the game, to elevate them over the top. This game was headed into OT, if not for a crappy kickoff by McPherson.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you had Joe Burrow, 24 for 36, 199 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, that's just not going to cut it. Joe Mixon on the ground, 19 carries for 57 yards. No touchdowns, no nothing. That's just not going to do it.
No.
Right? I mean,
this was a messy game. I mean, you've got one of the best receivers, one of the best running backs in the league, and one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And this is all you can manage to do. You're 0-2
against a very injured Dallas Cowboys, right? This should have been your bounce back
against
game.
the Dak Prescott-less Cowboys.
Yeah,
and look, Cooper Rush isn't going to be a superstar, but the guy is going to be able to carry this team with Tony Pollard emerging like he has been, and Elliott, and
let's look at the numbers there, right? Cooper Rush, 19 for 31, 235, 1 touchdown. He outplayed Burrow right there. Zeke and Tony Pollard combined for 96 yards, 15 carries for Zeke, 53 yards, and 9 carries and 43 yards for Tony Pollard. He caps it off with the touchdown. You guys who went out and you went and get Zeke for your running backs, you're probably hurting right now because I would have avoided him like the plague, which I did in both my leagues. But he is not really producing. He's not active in the run in the receiving game, and that hurts him, all the way around. I mean, he was 1 reception for -4 yards, in the receiving game.
He's just not. He's the pounder. He's not the explosive electric guy that everyone thought he would be. He's a pounder. He's going to always have a place to do that, but he's not going to be that top tier guy. And
he needs to be, the way I see Zeke is he needs to be second to like an Alvin Kamara style running back, Christian McCaffrey style running back, which Christian McCaffrey needs to move towards that zoom situation instead of the boom because he can't live through the boom.
No.
And
I mean, look, this is going to be like it was last year when Dak got hurt. This is going to be on Elliott to really lift this team up. And I think Cooper Rush playing well for a backup is going to help. Tony Pollard is going to be taking some stuff off the steam because of, Noah Brown and Cooper Rush seem to have a really good connection. So, it takes some attention off of CeeDee Lamb. It's going to open the offense up a little bit. And look, Kellen Moore I think he's young and upcoming.
I'm over Kellen Moore.
I'm not. And let me tell you why. I think that he still has a lot of learning to do in the coordinator slot before he becomes a head coach, but he is going to be a head coach within the next 5 years.
I'm over the offensive guru-ness. I'm over them talking about how he's innovative and the offensive guru. I really don't see it. Like, yes, they still win games and they do what they have to do, but I just don't see it. It seems stale. You're trying the same things over and over again, and you're getting the same result, which is bad. They are the definition of insanity with that Dallas offense. Oh, Dak's going to be our guy, and we're going to do it through Dak. When you have a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, who you should be running it through, and you're not even giving him the touches to make it happen. You run away from your strong part of your game, and you do it. Now, like I said, they won this week, so kudos to them for pulling out the win. But not every week is going to be, the way you're playing right now is not going to fall for you.
That's
you
on
the
that's
Eagles.
On, that
you
win
the
was,
Eagles twice.
Yeah,
so.
that win was on the defense, man. Dear God.
Yeah, and that's their strong suit. So they may be able to pull it out. They may be able to pull it out with that mediocre offense. They may be able to do it with the strength of that defense because that is their strong suit. But I'm still not sold on the Cowboys. I'm not sold on Kellen Moore.
Trayvon Diggs had a pass deflected, okay, 5 solo tackles, 6 total tackles, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Micah Parsons was 4 tackles, 4 solo, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 5 QB hits, okay? I mean, there's nobody on this team that has, like, Dorrance Armstrong's the only guy that got some QB hits, and Dante Fowler with 3 combined, okay?
Yeah.
And Van Der Esch got in there on the action too. But I mean, look, Donovan Wilson just doing his thing. He's a tackle machine. Van Der Esch, 7. I mean, these guys, this unit is something to worry about. Okay, it just is.
Yeah,
it's going to carry them, and that's good because tradition like before the Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs era, their defense was kind of the weak point, right?
Yeah. And they hit on both of those guys, so it worked out for them. But like I said, I mean, if they can keep this up and go 50% without Dak before he comes back, but it's a thumb injury. We've seen how QBs come back from that. You saw Russell Wilson struggle. You saw Drew Brees struggle when they came back from thumb injuries. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Since you said Russell Wilson, we'll get to that in the panic or not panic segment in just a minute. Let's Cardinals Raiders.
Yeah, let's do Cardinal Raiders, and then we'll talk about the Saints, and then we can.
So Cardinals Raiders, what an exciting game! Holy crap!
Not if you're a Raiders fan.
No, but if you're a football fan and you watch what happened in that fourth quarter, the Cardinals were down 7-23. And in the fourth quarter, they managed 16 points.
Yes.
It was one of the biggest comebacks, I believe, in Cardinals history.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, they were falling apart. Like, the third quarter, you could hear the groans from everywhere. Like, oh, Kyler Murray's not this, or the Cardinals aren't going to do this. And, like, you look on the sideline, you see J.J. Watt just kind of standing there like, just totally disappointed in his team. And Cliff Kingsbury just kind of looking, not so
good. Defeated.
Yeah, like realizing that if he loses this game, he's on the hot seat.
Clause out of Kyler's deal.
Exactly. I mean, look, it takes a game or a moment where your team clicks. And for the Cardinals, I hope this was it. I really hope that this is their click because they've got too much talent on this team. Between, Zach Ertz was the primary target and Marquise Brown, right? 11 targets apiece. They both got Ertz at 75, Marquise Brown 68 yards. I mean, once they get Hopkins back, right, it is going to be an extra layer to that game. So I think come week 7, because that's when Hopkins is back from suspension.
Yeah, if they're in good position, they can make a run.
Yes, and I think that division is not as strong as we thought. Or let me rephrase. It's a lot stronger in the terms of the teams are more equal, right? So it's going to be harder to predict. It's not the Rams division to lose. It's now they have to win it.
Yeah, everyone had the Rams running away with it. And you had a lot go down this weekend, right? You had, and we'll discuss that real quick too. But I mean, you had Kyler Murray and them wake up and come alive and do this thing against a Raiders team who, is 0-2 right now, but they're probably the best 0-2 team out there when everything's said and done. I mean, maybe give or take, but I mean, they have a lot of talent on that team too, and they're going to pull it together at some point. But they are in the toughest division in football to make a comeback at. The Cardinals are going to have a rough time making the playoffs out of this division unless we take 3 out of there, because you have the Rams, who are still pretty good, although I still do believe you have a lack of offensive talent there, and compared to someone like Arizona or San Francisco, who is real stacked on their offense. I think the Rams are probably the weakest in their offense, right? They have Cooper Kupp. That's it. We don't know which running back's going to do what. Stafford's good, but
where's Akers? Where's Henderson? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Stafford is looking very beatable this year
because you don't have that same receiving core he had last year.
No, Robinson's taking time to catch on.
Yeah,
and it's a little concerning. If I'm being honest about the Rams, I'm really concerned about that. I mean, you're talking Higbee got 7. Robinson, you bring this guy in for what you bring him in for, and he only gets 5 targets and 4 receptions. Now, he did catch a touchdown, but when your tight end has more yards than Allen Robinson, you got something going on there. Henderson and Akers are splitting it. Cam Akers is the lead back, quote unquote, but I think Henderson is just getting more done.
Henderson is the more dependable guy.
Yeah.
When it comes to that.
And I think that has a lot to do with this is basically Akers' rookie season. I mean, the guy's he's been hurt so much. And that's the hard thing with running backs, man. Just in general, it's the injury. That injury bug bites you early in your career. It's a specter. I mean, it looks like it took Saquon Barkley 2 years to shake it. He looks like he's finally shaked it this year. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey's looking pretty good. But again, that's just it's a hard thing to shake.
We'll see what happens there. But let's continue on with the West, because I mean, Rams 31-27 of the Falcons, who are looking a lot better than I possibly thought the Falcons could look. They're
0-2, but they're a very they could easily be 2-0, 0-2.
Yeah, they're competitive.
You know what I'm saying? Like that,
they're competitive 0-2. Yeah,
just
almost like the Lions last year, right? Who lost all their games very close, but just never could get over the top. I kind of feel like that's where the Falcons are headed this year. They're still going to finish at the bottom of the league, but they're going to be a good team finishing at the bottom of the league because they just don't have that thing to bring it over the top. And that's just not me shitting on the Falcons, because I mean, I can do that. But
no, I mean they almost mounted a full comeback in the fourth, so this could have been the 4th game of the week with a fourth quarter double-digit deficit comeback.
Yeah, but I mean, the Rams just they had enough to take the win. And then let's follow that up with the 49ers, who to me, I'm sorry what happened to Trey Lance, but I feel like they got better with that injury.
Well, just like the Dak Prescott injury with the Cowboys. Like, I feel like they played better with the backup than they did with Dak. And it's not.
But Garoppolo is their starter. He was their starter for the past 4 years. And the fact that he was playing second fiddle to Trey Lance because we burned 3 first-round picks to get him is insane to me. And I said this when the 49ers drafted Trey Lance, that I thought that was the wrong move. And 2 years later, they give him the start because of what they gave up for him. Not because he necessarily beat out Garoppolo in training camp.
Yeah.
He couldn't beat him out. They didn't let Garoppolo participate in training camp. So you can't lose to a guy that couldn't compete for the job. Right? And this, to me, this is why they kept Garoppolo, so he would still be on the team in case something happened to Trey Lance. He either sucks it up or he gets hurt. And week 2 of the season, he's gone for the year. Horrific injury. Go back to Dak Prescott, same thing with that ankle. That's the same injury, that compound fracture of the lower ankle, where the foot basically turns around. He didn't realize. He tried to stand up on it and fell down immediately. More of a man than I could be. I'd have been crying on the ground as soon as it broke. But, he's just – I was never sold on Trey Lance. And like I said, I feel with his injury, him being out for the season, this now brings the 49ers into the playoff contention.
And I think you're right. And considering what the Seahawks are probably about where I expected them to be.
But it ruined my week because I had the Seahawks beating them because of Trey Lance and their defense. I had the Seahawks winning because of that. And the fact that we got the Garoppolo 49ers is why I lost this game this week.
That's makes sense. It's I got nothing else on this one. The 49ers just came out and did what they needed to do to win. Garoppolo went 13 for 21, 154 yards and a touchdown.
Which, by the way, if he every game that he's plays more than, I think, 75% of the snaps, if he wins, if he plays more than 75% of the snaps every game, he gets $250,000. If they win, he gets another $100,000 on top of that. That's bonus, plus his salary money. So he's on schedule to make a lot of money this year.
Good for him. Hell yeah.
Right,
That's how contracts should be scored, to be honest with you.
Right. Incentive based to make you want to do it. Let's just go be depressing now.
Did we have to?
Right. Yeah. That's what we do. We have to finish it off, right?
Yeah. All right. So let's do this quickly because there's just not much to talk about here. There's
a lot more than you're giving it credit to.
The Tampa Bay defense had Jameis Winston's number all night. They were reading him like a book. They were jumping routes left and right.
Yeah.
3 of the 5 turnovers. Hold on, let me make sure I have that number right, that it wasn't 6.
No, 3 interceptions, 5 turnovers. 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles.
2 fumbles. Okay.
Yeah.
So on all 3 interceptions, it was just really good plays by the defense. It was not.
Yeah.
It was bad throws. Now look, he is trying to force the ball to Chris Olave, and I like this, but we saw the weakness of it with 2 of those 3 interceptions being on passes to Olave. And I don't. You texted me, here comes, the real Jameis, right?
Yeah, I was mad. Okay, I'm not over Jameis.
I'm not over him either, but he's got to. This was an ugly game. It was ugly all around.
But let's talk about where it got ugly and why it got ugly. Okay, let's skip over stats. We don't need to talk about that. Let's skip over that crap. Let's get to where it got ugly and why.
Nothing happened until the 4th quarter anyway.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong on the chain of events. Saints are driving down the field. Jameis is hitting targets. Mike Thomas, Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry hitting them. Ingram's running the ball pretty well. We get into the red zone, into 10, we fumble the ball. Right? Bucks take over. Okay? We get them on a 3-and-out situation. We won. We turn it over. 3-and-out situation. Saints get called for 12 men in the huddle on defense, which I thought you could do that and run a guy off the field. I don't know when they changed that, but as long as you don't have 12 people on the field when it snaps, you should be good to go. But apparently that's not the way it works anymore. So that kept that drive alive. And then
you had three third down penalties in that drive.
I was getting that. We they had some BS calls going down the field, and then the fight. Right? The fight. This is where Tom Brady slipped the refs the money. Hey, thanks for making those calls to keep this drive alive. Here you go. Here's that check I promised you. It's gonna clear. I got Giselle's bank account to make sure it happens. This one's gonna clear. And that's when the game got out. That's when the game ended. It's the fumble, the penalties, and the fight. That series of events right there is what took the Saints out of this game.
Yep. We had a chance on the next one to come back and do that, but it just interception.
We got them to punt. We got them to punt after the fight. That was it. They were going to punt, offsetting penalties. They were going to punt. Still 3-3.
Interception.
Touchdown. Everything went wrong.
Field goal. Interception. Pick six. Touchdown by the Saints.
Like
finally.
Everything went wrong on the draft on the drive before the touchdown. Mm-hmm. If Ingram doesn't fumble that ball and we score the touchdown, Jameis doesn't throw any of those picks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I agree.
So Jameis does what Jameis does. He tries to put the game on his shoulders, and not necessarily bad decisions. I mean, the pass to Olave was trying to force the ball, which if Olave comes down with it, touchdown, Saints are up. We don't go back to that, and that fumble is forgiven. But we were never able to shake that fumble. We were never able to shake the penalties. We never got rid of that. The energy in the dome after the fight was electric. I mean, the fans were there, but they punt, and 2 plays later, we get the first interception by Jameis, and you can feel everybody going, oh, here we go. This is Jameis. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what they've been telling us about. And sure enough, Tom Brady, with no receivers left, right? Because his 3 starting receivers are gone. He's down to Scotty Miller and Bashad Perriman. And he finally gets to throw a touchdown because they took out Lattimore, who should have never been thrown out of that game.
No. Fournette threw the first punch. He should have been ejected too.
Tom Brady started the crap. Fournette threw the first punch. Mike Evans comes and hits him from behind.
I saw on Outkick they said, did Arians tell Mike Evans to go hit him? And look, there's something I think in the offseason, it's time for Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore to just have a celebrity boxing match, okay? Let them go 12 rounds and just, the winner donates his salary to the other's charity. I don't know.
Look, I mean, here you go, right? So we heard about Mike Evans being suspended for 1 game, right? No suspension levied on Lattimore because he didn't do anything. No. Did they even, as far as I know, no fines were levied towards Lattimore?
Yet.
Okay, but this usually happens at the beginning of the week, does it not? I mean, something big like that, going on the Monday, Tuesday, they would have this figured out. They already suspended Evans. They should have a punishment for Lattimore. Right, so no punishment for Lattimore, no fines as of this moment. To me, says the NFL agrees with what I'm saying right now, that Lattimore was not responsible for anything that took place in that game with the fight. Jawing back and forth between 2 players, that happens at every play. Because it's crybaby Tom Brady, who threw another Surface tablet, by the way. I don't know if you know that, but apparently he hates Microsoft. He breaks them bitches like it's going out of style. He's an Apple man, but I mean, he's crybaby Tom, and this is what I always hated about him. This is what I always disliked about him. I don't discredit him for what he does. He's an amazing football player, but it's the crybaby bullshit, and that's the same thing. He was jawing back and forth with Lattimore, and Lenny Fournette starts to jump in and cause some crap, and we lose Lattimore. We don't lose Lattimore. Rashad Perriman doesn't score that touchdown, because guess who's covering Rashad Perriman at this time? Lattimore.
Mm-hmm.
That series of events, man, that drive that ended with that fight.
And no Lattimore really showed up. It really showed up on that next drive.
Especially with us not having Paulson and Debut right now. You know, we sent Chauncey Gardner-Johnson packing for whatever reason. I don't agree with that at all, but it is what it is. And you just saw the lack of, depth that we have in that position right now. Mm-hmm. And we lose Lattimore for a lengthy amount of time. It's going to be a bad time. They're going to be able to throw over us, unless a Debut comes back and plays himself, and Alante, comes out and does his thing. I mean, whatever's going on, but it needs to happen. Defense played a pretty solid game all the way until the fourth quarter, and that's when the bullshit started.
And there's not much else to say about that. The Dumb Stupid Head Award is going to go to the Saints this week for just a really bad play. And look, Tampa's defense was getting pressure all day.
Oh, they were.
They were doing a fantastic job of spying on Jameis. They were reading routes like it was an open book. You can't credit them.
I feel like they know so much about Jameis, his tells, his calls, his weeks, that, they knew what he was going to do before he knew what he was going to do. And that may be the case. I could be wrong. Tampa has a fantastic defense.
I mean,
that could just be another thing.
Devin White, Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield Jr., Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Akeem Hicks, right? Vita Vea. You just can't.
Fantastic defense.
Sean Murphy-Bunting, another really good guy.
But you can't allow one series of events to take you out of the game.
No,
and that's exactly what happened this week. So you say dumb, stupid head to the Saints. I'm even going to go one step further, and I'm going to go dumb, stupid head towards Dennis Allen for allowing his team to fall apart the way that they did.
Yeah.
Right? You played
this is
3 quarters of football.
This was a coaching test.
He should have gathered his team up after the fight and just said, "Hey guys, we're not out of this. Forget all of that. What just happened? This is still our game. Let's go and let's do this." Jameis, just take your time, make your plays. We can drive down the field. We just did it.
And I mean, look,
let's do it again and punch it in there.
It's just these mistakes, but the last few drives, he did look really good before those interceptions.
Yeah, before the interceptions, I mean, he ended up with 25 for 40, 236 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. So he's 3 for 3 this season, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So
27 more to go.
It's not good. We need to fix that. It's fixable. Let's make it happen.
I want 27 added to one of those totals, not the other. So yeah, I mean, looking at, I guess we got time for it. So panic, not panic. AFC East, Dolphins and Bills are 2-0. Patriots, Jets are 1-1. None of these teams have a reason to panic right now. I think they're all in. Like the Jets should be ecstatic.
They're all in. They're all in contention for second place in the drive.
And
in the thing.
Robert Saleh, I think, is we're starting to see the magic come together for them in New York, and I'm really happy because if I'm a Jets fan, we know how those Jets fans feel.
Yeah, you finally have some hope.
Yeah. So AFC North, Bengals are in last place at 0-2. Everybody else is looking 1-1, I believe. Yes. So I mean, if I'm Cincinnati, I panic.
I'm panicking because our offensive line, which we actually went out and spent some money on, is not doing their job.
Nope.
Yeah.
And your other guys, they're not making the plays happen without. So what? Sorry, something fell.
Yeah, I'm panicking if I'm the Bengals.
Yeah. If you're the Browns, I'm not panicking. If I'm the Ravens, I'm panicking. If I'm the Steelers, I'm not panicking. But the Ravens last game kind of was like, okay, pump the brakes. We're fine. Cleveland's 1-1. If they beat 500 until Watson comes back, I'm good with that. The run game for Cleveland is just off the charts. That's another thing that I want to talk about. But
fantasy gurus, let's stay away from Nick Chubb. That's stupid.
Eat it. Chubb and Kareem Hunt combined for almost 300 yards yesterday.
Come on.
I want to say.
All right. AFC South, all of them need a panic.
Yes.
That entire division. Right now, you're looking at Jacksonville probably being
Jacksonville's the only team that's not panicking in my view.
They're actually playing above what everyone expected them to be.
Yes, there is one win in that whole division. One win, and it's Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So panic.
Everyone else panic. AFC West.
Chiefs are fine. Chargers are fine.
I'm not going to say Raiders panic yet.
No.
I don't say the Raiders panic yet. I mean, you played against, that blow up at the end that kind of gets you worried. So be concerned. Denver, you spent way too much money. You need to be panicking right now.
Yes. Denver, I think Russell Wilson has like 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns. It just was not a very.
I mean, you got the win. They got the win against the Texans.
Yeah, but again, it's the Texans, and
you played the Texans and the Seahawks.
But you have, you're down Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton.
I know they have a better record than the Raiders, and I'm not saying that, but I feel like Raiders, you should be concerned. Broncos, you should be panicking because you should be 2-0 at this point.
Yes.
The fact that you 1-1, you lost to Seattle,
and that you can't break 20, that you can't put more than 20 on the scoreboard.
You're not burning up the Texans like you should be. You should be concerned.
I mean, look, you can't score 25 points in this league. You don't deserve to win a game.
Yeah. Let's go NFC East.
NFC East, New York is 2-0. What the hell? Philly's about where I expected. Washington, I'm not panicking. Dallas, with the if Dak wasn't injured and this happened, I would say that they would be should be concerned. Right now, though, I don't think anyone here needs to panic.
Okay, Eagles, I'm ecstatic. Commanders and Giants, outplaying expectations. Dallas, I'm concerned. You got to make it Cooper Rush. You got to be 500 when Dak comes back,
yes.
and then we can really judge what's going to happen with this team. So yes. I'm concerned, not panicking, yes. Concerned.
Okay, NFC
North.
If I'm the Vikings, that last game was
the Vikings losing the way you did, 24-7 to the Eagles, and it probably wasn't even that close. I'm concerned. I'm not panicking yet. I think the Eagles are outplaying my expectations. So to watch them get the win over the Vikings, if I'm a Vikings fan, I'm concerned right now. If I'm a Packers fan, even though it's the Bears, 27-10, I'm still concerned with the way we played against the Vikings.
And look,
the
Vikings, like that game's, like Slay was just unreal. He was just all over Kirk Cousins. Let me see if I can pull up his stats real quick.
2 interceptions. I'm not exactly sure about everything else.
So,
I know it was 2 interceptions.
Five passes defended, and then let's
2 interceptions.
see. Yeah, 2 interceptions. So
Bears, you're where you need to be. I'm sorry, 1-1, right? I think you're outplaying my expectations. So no need to be panicked yet.
And look, week one
was
just week one. That rain was nuts.
Yeah.
So we really can't judge week one too much. But Bears are about where they are. Lions, I'm excited. I'm seeing some great play, high scoring. Defense is a little is concerning for the Lions. Henderson or whoever, he went out. Their defensive end.
I'm in Ross St. Brown, man. Money, kids, money. All right, so NFC West.
I'm giving you the eye right now.
I know. NFC West. Let's see, Rams.
If I'm the Rams, I'm panicked. I'm concerned. If
I'm not panicked. I'm concerned. If I'm the Seahawks, this is where we're going to be. I'm actually happy because we outplayed and we got the win against Denver in week 1. So at this point, I'm still kind of happy. I know where this season is going to end for the Seahawks. So any win, you're happy with. The Cardinals, yes, you got the win, but I would still be a little concerned. Hopefully the team turned it on and they're going to be better in the future. So I'm still concerned if I'm on the Cardinals. 49ers, like I said, I feel like you're better now. Yes, you lost in week 1. A rough game. You can't say anything because of the weather. But now with Trey Lance, I'm sorry the kid got injured, but I think you're in a better position with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. The teams that would really need to worry are the Rams and the Cardinals. So the Cardinals, I think, are going to figure it out. The Rams are going to as well. I'm not panicking for either one of those teams yet. I mean, honestly, the team, to me, and the Packers aren't. I wouldn't panic if I'm the Packers either.
No, but I'd be a little concerned with the way that
Aaron
we played
Jones
against the Vikings.
Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are just going to carry you.
Yeah, it's a little early for all of this, but hey, why not? NFC South, Falcons, Panthers. You're right where we thought you were going to be. You are what we thought you are.
And I mean, look, Falcons are better than I thought. So again, they're that 0-2 that could be 2-0 easily.
Bucks, you got the win this week. You're 2-0. You should be happy at this point.
I am panicking if I am the. I'm not panicking, but I'm not encouraged with this offensive performance.
With the Bucks?
Yes.
Okay, because with the Saints, I'm not encouraged either. I'm not panicking yet. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. I'm close to panicking. I'm very concerned with the Saints.
And I think
a lot of lack of offensive production. I have some feelings about that. And I'll talk about that right now. Why not? We've been talking forever, and I'll just keep going. But Saints, I'm worried about our offense. I feel the play calling is not up to par, and I know we're coming off of Sean Payton and everything else, but I feel like a lot of it hasn't changed. We're still dinking and dunking down the field. We're not taking the shots when they should be.
I saw a lot of shots this week. Yeah,
but it took them until the third quarter to start shooting. When we had them on the ropes, we didn't do that. We waited until we were behind the 8 ball to make it happen. We're still. I feel like our play calling is a little. You can read it. You know what's happening by the packages we have on the field. If we're bringing Taysom Hill in and he lines behind center, we know he's going to run. If we have Deontay Hardy and Chris Olave out on the field, we know we're going to run the ball because they're going to do pass blocking. If we bring in Mike Thomas and we bring in Jarvis Landry, they know we're going to throw the ball because that's our receiving core. You know, and it's just I feel like we're very, very predictable right now, and I think Dennis Allen needs to have that major talk with why can't I remember his name right now?
Pete Carmichael,
and say, hey, we got to do something because they can read us like a book right now.
Yep.
You know, maybe Taysom needs to be on the field 90% of the
Kamara
time.
being hurt, Taysom on the field more. I think you're right. I think Taysom being out there in that tight end spot, actually running routes, is going to make all the difference in the world.
And we're talking about them reading Jameis, and I think it's more of them just knowing what we were going to do. Because I'm sitting in the stands back there, and I'm looking at the receiving core that's out on the field, and I'm like, we're running. Sure enough, boom. They run the ball for 4 yards, 5 yards, and then they bring in the receiving crew, and sure enough, he throws the ball. It's predictability, and we're there again, regardless of Sean Payton making the calls or Pete Carmichael making the calls. It's the same offense. I think we need to do something to change it up a little bit. So that's just my thoughts. I'm close to panicking. I'm not all the way there yet. Let's see how we do against the Panthers this week.
Yeah. All right. I can't go any more on this.
Yeah, we're done with that. But, I mean, we still got to do our picks for the week, right?
Yeah, so we're going to do these live. I got the app pulled up right now. Are you okay?
I don't, because I got to put more money in because I keep losing.
Then start me off, Captain.
All right, you are going to get you know what? I'm going to give you Bills Dolphins.
Ooh. Oh, let's see. I'm going to take a Bills. All right, so you're going to get Houston and Chicago.
Damn it. That's what I was going to pick for you. All right, I'm going to go with Chicago. I think they're going to make a comeback on that one. Your next game is going to be Steelers-Browns.
Steelers-Browns. I'm going to take the Steelers. This is a get-right game for them.
All right.
And you're going to get Atlanta at Seattle.
Ooh. I'm going to go against everything I want to say, but I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Awesome.
I get you. You get Pack Bucks.
This one's tough. Oh, this one's tough. With Mike Evans suspended, I'm going Green Bay.
All right.
And then last one. Well, no, this is third one for you, right?
Yeah.
Detroit at Minnesota.
I'm going to go Minnesota on that one. You know I normally go Detroit, but I'm going to give Minnesota the win on that one. I didn't even think. I just went with it. Your last one's going to be Cowgirls Giants.
Cowgirls Giants. Give me Dallas in that one.
All right. Cowgirls. All right.
I think that defense is going to carry them through it. So, and your last one. Baltimore and New England.
All right. And I'm going to take Baltimore. All right, so if you're paying attention, neither of us have won any of these parlays yet on the betting app. We
are
finished
both
out
3-1 last
3-1, and so 6-2 for the season combined. We're gonna try to make some graphics and keep it going, but this, it's been a crazy couple days. So at least for me. So that's what you get, guys. That's it. We'll come back to you next Tuesday. We'll talk more football. Hopefully we'll have something to celebrate in the wins against the Saints, with a win from the Saints into the Panthers. Hopefully Jameis doesn't continue to be Jameis, and we get to see Jameis, not Jameis. So.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much as always. Peace out.
Deuces.